WNST, Tassenball. Everything that was good about my universe and my world on Monday has come crashing down after a 5:20 a.m. flight back from Tampa and a 2-0 lead. Ed Frankovic joins us here now. He, of course, our Caps insider, historian, certainly not the guy that's going to talk me off the ledge in this segment now that the series is 2-2 and the Capitals completely outplayed Tampa Bay on Thursday night down in D.C. in every place except the scoreboard, and a 4-2 loss, including an empty netter. It was mainly a 3-2 game. Ed, we've got a 3-game series here, and things are not trending well if you're a Caps historian.
Well, that's for sure, Ness. When you look at it historically, you tend to be negative, right? That's where this fan base is and the people that have followed the team for a long time. But I think if you look at the way the game's being played, you've got to find a way to be positive because they really have dominated the game at 5-on-5, and they've been a victim of poor special teams and some bad penalties for sure, and we can get into that, but also some big mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be the guy blaming the officials. Now, I will say the 2 calls in Game 3, the puck and the stick and Wilson into the net. I mean, we talked about that the other day, but, they're not doing what they need to do to win, period. That's why they're losing. And this goalie, they've now created the hot goalie on the other side, and they're going to have to get down to Tampa and deal with that on Saturday night.
Well, that's for sure, and I actually tweeted out, I thought that was a very well-officiated game in Game 4. I thought the officials did a fabulous job. I didn't see any missed calls at all. I mean, the Capitals had 4 power plays, and Tampa only had 2, and the Capitals just aren't scoring their power plays, and Blaine Forsythe really, he runs the special teams. Coach Trotz has told us he needs to figure out a way to get that power play going again because it's not clicking, and he needs to continue to make adjustments to not let Steven Stamkos have these goals. I mean, Stamkos has scored every great game in this series on the power play. So special teams has been a problem, and they came out with a really nice start, and then Michael Kempny makes one of the worst passes I've ever seen on his backhand, blind up the middle of the ice. My 8-year-old knows not to make that pass.
Yeah, everything you always say about playing the right way, boy, that's exactly, that's a snapshot of how not to play the right way. You got to keep the puck moving forward, man. You have to.
Yeah, either throw it hard off the boards up into the neutral zone or keep carrying it around behind the net.
Dude, ice the puck. Do whatever you got to do, but don't do that.
Yeah, that just zapped. They had a great start. They had a lot of momentum. They had the crowd behind them. The Orlov goal was great. And you could just see that took a lot out of the team. And the rest of that period was mostly Tampa, and Tampa scored the goal. Then they got the Lars Eller, who we can talk about him. I believe he's wearing down, playing all these minutes without Backstrom. But Nicky's back now, so I think they can flip that for Game 5. But Eller takes another terrible penalty because he's not moving his feet, he's not keeping up, and I think that's fatigue on him. And again, Tampa scores, and it's 2-1. And the Capitals played a marvelous second period, and I still don't know how Ovechkin didn't score on that pass from Wilson right by the side of the net. I don't know if it hit Hedman's arm or what, but the Capitals were all over him, and like you said, they've created the hot goalie now. And they have to find a way. I'd like to see more pucks low with rebounds and more guys going to the net because Vasilevsky certainly was in the zone here in Games 3 and 4.
Ed Frankovic can be found, Ed, at WNST.net, out at our website as well as at Ed Frankovic on Twitter. We'll get it going on Saturday night. We're going to be at Michael's Cafe in Timonium, trying to stay dry after the 143rd running of the Preakness Stakes and Justify and Good Magic. We certainly hope there's some good magic. I know there's going to be great crab cakes and some split-level soup getting in my belly on Saturday night out at Michael's Cafe, and hopefully Bob Baffert's in the winner's circle at that point as well. But anybody in the northern Baltimore County area, if you're around town, you asking me where to come and watch the Caps on Saturday night, I would tell you the beautiful new bar at Michael's Cafe where we had Barry Trotz about 6 weeks ago. So I'll be there. Early face-off, 7:15 face-off on the backside of the Preakness out at Old Hilltop. I'll get your pick in the Preakness in a minute, Frankovic, but let's stay on topic here. And, I guess on to where the lines are. And Backstrom, who looked fine, right? I mean, all the rest for him, and certainly Burakovsky coming back, after he was out for a period of time as well. They have the full complement of players right now. You would agree with that. You would say no one is particularly hurt, although you can make the excuse for whatever you want for Lars Eller for fatigue or whatever. Everybody's pretty much played the same minutes at this point. They're going to get the best crack. They've played better in Tampa than they played at home. I've seen all 4 games up close and personal, so I would expect them to answer the bell on Saturday night. But Thursday was quite disheartening. The booing of the team at home, the point in the third period where with about 14 minutes left, I elbowed the gal next to me up in the press box, Amal, and I said, this is the point where the puck squirts between Holtby's legs with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left to go. And, of course, it didn't happen at that point. It happened a little earlier than that when the third goal was scored. 11:57 was the time of that goal. And, we've seen the script. I mean, the Game 4 loss is for any Capitals fan the textbook. We outplayed them. We hit the post. We had the power plays. We did this. And fill in the name. Halak, Brodeur, Hextall, Barrasso, put any name you want in there. But there's a goalie who was better than they were on Thursday night. And once you get into the middle of May, we don't play much into late May, which is where we are now. Boy, that's a kiss of death, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Vasilevsky really was dialed in, and the Bolts took advantage of the mistakes the Capitals made. The penalties, the game-winning goal was 6 seconds after they had killed off Eller's second minor, and that's just a mistake by Carlson and Kempney. Somebody's got to be in front of the net there. You can't let that guy go free. So the Tampa Bay's taking advantage of the Caps breakdowns, and the Capitals have been all over Tampa. I mean, but the shots on goal, 38 to whatever, 20 or whatever it was, Washington was just all over them and just couldn't finish. And as far as the lines, I think what you have to bump Backstrom back up to the second line there, Ness, and move Eller down to the third, because Nicky came back. He looked pretty good. He won 6 of 9 faceoffs, but he didn't really shoot the puck. He did have 4 shots on net, but I think a lot of those were tips or in close. They got to do something with that power play. Maybe Nicky needs to shoot, but I got to think he's going to be a lot better in Game 5.
He is Ed Frankovic, Ed at WNST.net. On the power play, they had nice movement. They had nice movement at the end when they pulled Holtby, and they were 6-on-5. They've gotten good looks. Ovechkin seemed quick to pass late in the game, and instead of shoot, it felt like he wanted to dish the puck off, and I don't know where we are with that, but I would prefer to see him shooting when the team's losing late in the game, no matter what. But he is relatively unselfish for being a scorer. That didn't tickle the twine, as they say, on Thursday night. But there was plenty of action on the power play, just not a result.
Yeah, and I think with the issue with Ovi is they're doing a really good job. Ryan Callahan's getting in the lanes on his shots. And you've seen Callahan block a lot of his shots, and he was trying not to take a shot, get it blocked, and then they go hit the empty net. They were overplaying Alex for sure. So the Capitals, and it's the same thing on the power play. And I mean, this is really on. John Cooper's made good adjustments on his end. Barry Trotz has really got to sit down with Blaine Forsythe, who runs the special teams, and they really have to make some adjustments. I would really like to see that second unit change. I'd like to see Wilson in front of the net out there, just to create some havoc or do something like that, because that's the way you beat a hot goalie right now. And they're just not getting enough shots through. Tampa's doing a great job of blocking shots. You go look at what they're doing. They're playing Ryan Callahan a lot. They're playing Kunitz a lot. They're playing a lot of these guys that check. And they're not fast, and that's why the Capitals have the puck a lot. But what Tampa's doing is they've done a better job of walling off the high-danger scoring chances that the Capitals got in the first 2 games. And Tampa's found a way to get to the front of the Capitals' net. So the Capitals do tend to play a simpler game on the road. So that's one place you can be optimistic going down there. And you even said to me that place isn't really a big home ice advantage. It's not allowed there, right?
You're off the ice more. I can't explain it, but sitting in the bowl for games 1 and 2, even when things were going right for the Lightning, it's not a loud building. I mean, other than when they're playing the AC/DC and the Thunderstruck and getting it going, it feels more like a Canadian rink. And I don't know what the chemistry or the makeup of their fan base. I mean, certainly the fan base down there felt very Southern. It felt very blue collar. I mean, quite frankly, in the upper deck, from what I can see in the beer drinking and whatnot, lots of pretty girls down in front. It's Tampa, for crying out loud, but it sounds like a Canadian rink. I don't know what else to say. I know there are a lot of Canadian folks that settle in Florida, maybe became Lightning fans through the course of time or whatever, but there is a quietness about that place that, when the AC/DC stops, it's a focus on hockey, and it's not a boisterous rink the way our rink tends to be. Or, Philadelphia's boisterous. New York's cities that tend to be boisterous have boisterous environments inside their rink.
Yeah, you look at the Rangers or Chicago, that's loud buildings. So the Capitals have to go in there and just play a textbook road game. They have to be better in front of their net. They have to be better with their passes. Michael Kempny certainly has to be a lot better. I thought he and Eller had very poor games. And I also thought Andre Burakovsky was really bad in Game 4, and I wouldn't.
He's been kind of disappearing. I don't feel like I see him much. I don't see opportunities coming his way. He's been quiet.
He has, Ness, and he loses a lot of board. He lost a lot of board battles. I can't help but think that he's not right. I don't know. He's just not checking. And in the playoffs, you have to check. You have to battle on the boards. And time again, he was knocked off the puck or not even engaged in the board battle. I got to think he's coming out. Chason's going back in on that fourth line because at least Chason battles. I mean, you look at what the Bolts are doing. Callahan and Kunitz. I go back to those type of guys. Those guys, they're not fast, but they're playing a lot of minutes. They're playing more minutes than Stamkos and Kucherov when you go look at the ice time. Tampa's just trying to check, and then when they have an opportunity on the power play, they use their skill guys, and Stamkos and Johnson and Kucherov, those guys, and Holtby made some big saves. The Capitals had a lot more defensive breakdowns. Those 18 or 19 shots, a lot of them were quality. Tyler Johnson all alone on Holtby in the second period. Kucherov all alone. He stops at Stamkos with a nice deflection. And there's no way you could really put this one on Holtby. I know he gave up that third goal, but that guy is all alone right in front, and the other two he had no chance on. So this is really on the breakdowns the Capitals have had in their end that have given Tampa the quality chances that, frankly, Tampa just didn't get in the first two games.
Well, they're such snipers, and they get Holtby moving right to left, and that's really what it's been a problem. And I think the Capitals were really trying to do that late in the game to get Vasilevsky moving around a little bit, and it didn't work, getting him out of position and not shooting it right on him. But in the case of the Caps, time on ice, when you have 8 minutes of power play and almost 6 minutes in a row that they had, it was penalty after penalty after penalty. And then you start to see the ice time load up for Ovechkin, who had almost 24 minutes of ice time, a lot of it standing still waiting for the puck, quite frankly. But then you look up and say, well, why didn't I see Burakovsky? He only played 8.5 minutes, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he fell out of the rotation there because Jacob Vrana's passed him, and I like the game that Jacob Vrana's playing. He's using his speed, and he's winning board battles, and so he's passed him up the depth chart. Burakovsky is just not skating. He's not giving Trotzy any reason or Lane Lambert any reason to put him out there at forward because he's just not battling. He's not skating. His shot, we already know, takes a long time to get off, so I just don't see how he stays in. I think Vrana has certainly proved that he's playing better, and I think they're going to need a guy like Chason that's going to win some board battles. But what I'd like to see the Capitals do, I know they're trying to get Vasilevsky moving side to side, and at the end there, they pass it around, but I would have liked to seen a couple shots low, shoot the puck low, because he likes to go down and put his pads out, and then put the rebound in. That's where you get him out of position, get him coming out, because he challenges, too. The save he made on Carlson with about 3.5, 4 minutes to go, all alone in the slot. Vasilevsky comes out and challenges. Carlson tries to go up high, but he doesn't have the angle at that point. So you're going to have to beat him on the ice. Look, Kuznetsov beat him on the ice on the breakaway. I think 5-hole or rebound is where you're going to have to get him. Well,
there were plenty of rebounds in the last 4 minutes when they went 6-on-5, and it just, the puck would squirt out and Ovechkin wouldn't be there. The puck would squirt out, Kuznetsov's nowhere to be found. The puck squirts out, Carlson, and the chippy ice at home also. At some point, I thought there would be a benefit to that at some point it would cost Tampa, that the ice was kind of gnarly down there, especially in Game 3. The Capitals never got a break on that. They never got the puck flying off of Tampa's blade on a breakaway or something weird happening. But the ice in D.C., it's very clear how bad it is, and I think you'll see faster ice in Tampa, and that tends to help the Capitals to some degree, I think.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think the Capitals are a faster team. Everyone built up the speed of Tampa, but I think the Capitals are the faster team, and I think Tampa's just like Cooper said, Game 3. The reason they won Game 3 was they checked, and that's what they're trying to do: check the Capitals to slow them down. I think if you get on a little better sheet of ice, that's going to help the Capitals. It did look like the ice was a little better in Game 4 than 3. I thought 3 was atrocious, but still. The Capitals just aren't doing the things they need to do. The power play is a big problem, like you pointed out. You can't have 6 minutes of power play time in the first period and get nothing, especially when Tampa's deadly on there. So special teams are a big factor here right now. Getting to the front of the net on the offensive end and protecting the front of the net on the defensive end. Those are going to be the keys. The team that does those best are going to win Game 5.
Nervous? Ed, nervous?
No, nervous. You know, I was more nervous going into these 2 home games, believe it or not. I feel like the Capitals are playing the right way. I think getting down to Tampa will be better for them. I mean, naturally, you're always nervous. You know, it's a best of 3 to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think when they wake up today and think about it, would you take 2-2? I think they would. I mean, they wouldn't be up 2-0, but coming in where everybody was picking Tampa, I think they said I'd take 2-2 and go to a best of 3, and I think going on the road, there's less pressure. They'll simplify their game. I'm going to be like you. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic going into this. You know, let's see where Game 5 goes, and you know it's going to come right after the Preakness, and you know I'm going to give you a justify. Let's stay dry, and hopefully the Caps fly high. So there's my thoughts on Saturday night.
Well, I certainly hope that everyone joins us out at Michael's Cafe, staying dry indoors on Saturday night out at York and Timonium Road. The crab cakes, a split-level soup. Get yourself a prime steak, a Malbec, an ice-cold bevy of your choice, as Craig Laughlin would say. We'll be out there about 7 o'clock after the running of the 143rd Preakness Stakes. Ed, you got a winner in the Preakness for me?
Yeah, I'm going Justify. I think this muddy track helps that horse, and I think Smith will get him out. Hopefully, get him out. To what post is he coming out in, Ness?
7.
Yeah, I think he's going to get him out there fast because, you know, in the mud races, you want to be out up front because you don't want that mud kicked on you. I think that decreases the chances of a closer. It's a shorter race by a furlong at the Preakness, so I like Justify. I like Mike Smith if he can get a good break out of the gate and get him out there up front. I like Justify winning this race.
Well, I was out there on Thursday. It was a milkshake out on that course Thursday morning. More rain, pounding it on Friday and Saturday. It is going to be a super, super sloppy track out there at 6:20 when the 8 horses go to post for the 143rd running of the Preakness Stakes. And when Ed is not ice side, he is track side down at Laurel. Ed and I have bent the elbow at a few Kentucky Derbies in the Phoenix Hill with the Velcro Pygmies. Where are the Velcro Pygmies these days? They still out there?
They're still doing it, Ness.
Are they?
They're still doing it. They still play at Louisville Derby weekend, and they most of their stuff is down on the Gulf Coast. They do a lot of the colleges, you know, the bars down along the Gulf of Mexico there, Florida Panhandle and Alabama.
I need a night with the Velcro Pygmies. I mean, I really do. Before the year is over, I'm online right now. New album available from Louisville, Kentucky. The Velcro Pygmies deliver a nonstop high-energy hair metal rock show that you soon won't forget. And that's true, Ed, because it's been almost 20 years, and you and I haven't forgot those bars, the bras up on the bar on the swinging fan. Remember that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they are... I would say they're the best cover band I've ever seen in terms of energy and getting the crowd into it. You know, they are just an amazing band. Reminds me another good cover band, Mr. Green Jeans from out of Philly, used to be a good one to see. But my favorite was always the Pygmies because of the way they involved the audience and got everybody into it. We've had many a good night down there.
You know what? We're going to find a night, you and me, with the Pygmies, with Karen and Jen before it's all over. How about that's my promise. That'll happen right after we win the Stanley Cup. Hope. All right, Ed, rest up, towel off. I'll be out at Michael's Cafe in Timonium on Saturday night. Everyone is invited to wear your red. Come on out. Root for the Caps on Saturday night after Justify and Bob Baffert. Hopefully make a Triple Crown. By the way, Ed, we're going to have a Belmont bus if Justify wins. So I'm going to be breaking that news over the weekend, too. I've got a bus together for the 9th of June if Justify wins. So that'd be fun, right? You've been to Belmont before?
Oh, yeah. I've been on the WNST bus several times up there for the Triple Crowns. Marty Jones, War Emblem, hoping to see it. It didn't happen.
Well, maybe it's a time for you to take some of your chillin' up to see a potential Triple Crown so they can talk about Secretariat and Seattle Slew and American Pharaoh like the rest of us, right?
Yeah, And I remember you and I went and we saw Big Brown together, too. Remember that as well?
Yeah, well, Big Brown didn't win. So, yeah.
Yep, that's for sure.
Ed,
so, yeah.
Rest up, my man. It's going to be a late night on Saturday night, I have a feeling.
Yeah, they need this one.
They're not going to run out of wet drinks for me over at Michael's Cafe. All of our WNST programming brought to you by our friends at Cole Roofing. Bill Cole skipped us this week, which is going to make it twice as good next week. We're going to be talking about gambling and the Supreme Court decision next week. You can go to ColeRoofing.com and Pfister Energy to learn more about all the cool stuff they do. Also, our friends at Pizza John's. Not a bad spot this weekend to go grab yourself a pizza, some subs, some ravioli. Back Riverneck Road, they've been down there for 50 years, slinging pizza better than anybody has ever done it. I promise you, go to Pizza John's. It will affect you. It will change your life. It will make Essex a regular turn on your pizza rotation. Get on down there and do that. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. Streaming live from our Facebook. I will not be in Tampa Saturday, but I will be in Timonium on Saturday night for all things Caps. We'll be tweeting and doing all of that. The buyatoyota.com audio vault is there for you. You want to get ready for the race. I'm getting ready for next week. I'm getting ready for a potential Game 7 in Tampa on Wednesday night. Whoo, going to be a crazy week around here. Eat your Wheaties and rest up. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.